Hey everybody, Kelley Engineering here, and welcome to episode 10 of Ragnamod V. In between episodes, what I did was I made this and this, but I'm not happy with that. I'm definitely going to try to make something better. But this is going to be our farmhouse, and like I said in last episode, I like the build itself, but I don't feel that it's going to really fit any sort of established theme. So this thing is made with a lot of wool, mainly because I didn't feel like making the concrete powder, because my gravel and sand resources are very valuable to me right now, and I don't want to be using them up. So instead, I'm using wool because wool is easy to come by. I'll replace it later if I decide to keep this thing up. But yeah, this is where I'm going to be having all of the stuff for my crops. And they're going to be in these framed drawers in the walls on the first floor. I don't know what I'm going to do with the second floor. I tried doing some decorating already in here, and yeah, we'll figure out what to do with it a little bit later. But I also managed to get 1010 crops for quite a bit of all of the dye seeds, 3 of the Pam seeds, mainly because I got them through mutations, and then the Caprosia, which is copper, and the Foranum, which is iron. The reason why I couldn't get any of those other seeds is because it requires ore I don't have access to. So look at type Agricraft. So stuff like the nickel seeds. I didn't find any thermal foundation nickel ore, and that is what I needed. If I look for how to actually get it, it's via the void miners or via a combiner, so some nickel dust. And I definitely could do that once I have mechanism stuff. And then there's, of course, the laser. So these are the only things that I could manage to get. There's also redstone and lapis, but I don't have silk touch on any of my picks, so all the time I spent in the mining dimension was just getting a whole bunch of ore. I added a new chest over here with all the ore that I got, and we'll go through it a little bit later. Oh, wait a minute, I got tin. I can do the platinium. Well, we can worry about that a little bit later. But this episode, we're not going to be working on Agricraft because I'm having some issues with this, the water tower. So this is a wooden water tank, and it is full all the way to the brim. The way that I did that was I have a sink down here in the center with a fluid transfer node, and then transfer pipes going all the way up. It's very slow right now. There we go. It's very slow right now to actually fill up the tank, so I'm going to have to do something about that in the future. I hooked up a bunch of irrigation channels down here, and how much water is transferring into my water tank cannot keep up with the amount of crops that I was about to plant. So I have this little plot right here, which will suffice me for all of the things that I do need. So the pumpkins, the melons, the sugarcane, the wheat, all that good stuff, and cactus. But yeah, once I figure out a better way to... Oh yeah, I can get into the speed nodes from extra utilities. Once I actually figure out a better way to get the... I gotta light that up too. Oh, I just finished this and then hit the record button, so... yeah. Unfortunately, before we continue blood magic, the thing that I said I needed to do was fix my food issues. So, I have a book here, and I'm going to throw this book into a furnace. And honestly, I'm getting deja vu. I feel like I've already done this series, but whatever, I'll make another one just in case. But this is going to make me the Cooking for Blockheads book. What the Cooking for Blockheads book does for me is shows me stuff that I can make if I supply ingredients. So select an item on the right to see its recipe, yada yada. So I'm going to be using this a little bit later, but the first thing that I want to do is make the presser, the grinder, and the apiary. So I already have all of the items necessary to do that. So, presser. Boom. The apiary. And where are you? The Pam's Harvest Grass apiary. And the last thing I'm going to need is the grinder. Where are you, grinder? Here we are. How am I missing iron ingots? Son of a gun. Iron, and throw that in here with a sword and a redstone repeater, and I have the grinder. I also have to make the traps, but I'll make those off screen. I've made the traps before. It's a really simple recipe. And the next quest, I believe, is actually the baits anyway. Yeah. So I'm going to make the traps, and I'm going to come back to you, make all of the bait. I'm going to go set those traps over here in the field. So I have been mulling around the mining dimension right now, and the sun's going down, so that's bad. Looking for this, a beehive from Pam's Harvestcraft. Now, the mining dimension doesn't have any other type of wood except for great wood. Yeah, there's some more Thaumcraft stuff over there, but acacia trees are the most common tree you'll find in the mining dimension. And in here, boom, I have a queen bee. So the queen bee is what I need in order to activate the apiary, and I actually want one more queen bee, so I'm going to keep searching. I've also been going around and finding wheat or barley and some berries so that I can make trap bait for my ground trap. I'm not going to worry about catching enough fish in order to make the water trap work. But yeah, this is going to be good enough for me for now. Oh snap, I had no idea that that I could find wood chickens over here. So let's grab this wood chicken. Yoip. And let's grab this wood chicken. Yoip. Awesome. So I have 2 wood chickens, and I wonder if any of the other base chickens are going to be in here. Now I'm not expecting to find like sand chickens, because I usually find those in the desert, but I can hope. Cool, I have finally found my second beehive, and I have my second queen bee. Now, it should be worth noting that the Pam's Harvestcraft beehives are hidden inside these vanilla trees, and if Pam's Harvestcraft trees were spawning in this area, they also have a chance to spawn there. They'll never spawn in the Greatwood tree, to my knowledge. It's just vanilla and Pam's trees that they'll spawn. Also, if you see the Pams, and you notice I just grabbed it with my axe and the pickaxe for the first one, it didn't harm me. That's not the case with the forestry beehives. There are no forestry beehives in the mining dimension in this pack, but I'm sure there are in other dimensions. So if you try to mine those with anything other than a scoop, and the scoop is specific to forestry, right here, if you try to break a forestry beehive with anything but the scoop, you'll take quite a bit of damage because the bees will attack you. So don't make that mistake. Only the Pam's beehives can be harvested with a pickaxe or axe. Alright, so I've gone and placed my ground traps, and I've put grain bait, veggie bait, and fruit bait into each of them. So I made 2 stacks of grain and fruit. But all I have to do is just wait, and eventually it'll take a bait and produce an item, throw it in the trap for me. Each bait offers pretty much the same thing. Leather, feathers, eggs, bones, and raw chicken. However, each individual bait also gives you something unique. So the fruit bait will give you rabbit stuff. The grain bait will give you turkey and raw steak. And the veggie bait will give you... oh, shoot. It's... yeah, raw pork chops, raw mutton, and something else. Another type of meat. But yeah, those each individual bait will give you something unique. So it would behoove you to make each different type of bait. Like I said, I'm not going to bother placing the water traps for now, but I am going to place an apiary and probably make a second apiary since I have 2 queen bees. And I was glancing around the wiki. I'll put this queen bee in here. I was glancing around the wiki, and apparently there's a new feature where if the queen bee exhausts herself, so you see that there is a durability here, then there is a grub inside and royal jelly. It'll just automatically make you a new queen bee to put in the apiary. So I actually want to see that in action because it's not that well explained on the wiki. But yeah, I definitely want to see that in action. So I'm going to wait, keep this queen bee in the wings. And unintentional pun, I apologize. And keep going with the grinder and the presser. I'll just place them right here. So these things do not take power, thankfully. But what the presser does for you is this is going to make... oh. Be nice if I spelled it properly. But what the presser is going to do for you is it's just going to take berries, and it's going to turn it into juice. It'll give you oil. all that good stuff. And then the grinder will turn various meats into, I forget what the actual meat byproduct is, but it's like a smaller version of that meat. Grinder. But yeah, I give you ground fish, ground mutton, and with that ground stuff, you can use it in recipes instead of using the full thing. So like, oh yeah, stuffed chili peppers. So you stuffed ground mutton into the chili peppers. But that's what the grinders are for. I'm not going to use them right now, but I figure, oh man, I can't complete that quest until I have fish trap bait. But the next thing I'm going to start working on are the kitchen blocks. Alright, so let's get started on the Cooking for Blockheads blocks. The first thing I'm going to need is a Cooking for Blockheads 2. So I made the Cooking for Blockheads 1 book at the beginning of the episode, and like this says in the tooltip, it shows you what the food you can make. But with Cooking for Blockheads 2, if I had this, it can craft food using the things I have in my inventory. So when I have this, I can make the cooking table, and apparently I'm going to need some smooth stone. Thought I had that, but whatever. So grab the smooth stone. And what I can do with the cooking table, and how can I be missing terracotta? Because I've already made that over here. Jeez, so unprepared. But yeah, cooking table, right here. So what the cooking table will allow you to do is when you place it on a kitchen block, oh, that's another thing that I'll explain. I have kitchen blocks that are going to be made over here. Everything that I'm about to be creating is part of a multi-block. So I can combine any one of the Cooking for Blockheads blocks together, and so long as they're sitting on a kitchen floor, all of them can be accessed and utilized at once. So anything that I put inside a fridge or anything I put inside the cupboard then can be used by the cooking table, because the cooking table has Cooking for Blockheads 2 inside it. So this recognizes that I have fresh water, and that I can make salt because of it. So click to see recipe. All I need is a pot, and a pot is something I'm going to be making in the next quest. But it just shows that it's something that can be created because of the water bucket I have in my inventory. The same thing over here. Fresh water can be made with the water bucket. And there's another way to get fresh water anyway. I'm not worried about that. But yeah, that is how the kitchen table works. I'm going to go ahead and make all of these. And so first we need the oven. So I need to make a furnace, which means I need cobblestone. Once again, unprepared. So, furnace. And apparently I need, oh, it has to be black stained glass. Well, I have plenty of glass, and I also have plenty of ink sacks from when I had my squid farm out. So, 1, 2, 3. And where are those ink sacks? There they are. Oh, shoot, I forgot the recipe to make stained glasses. Crazy. Alright, so 8. And I can just put this one away. Boom. So, make that black stained glass. And now we can make the oven. So the oven will allow you to cook things, so beef can become steak, yada yada. The fridge allows you to store items that are supposed to be cold. The sink, which I have already made. The tool rack is another quest. The toaster, which makes toast, of all things. There it is. Alright, iron trap door. So, toaster, which I actually don't think is part of the quest, but that's fine. The milk jar and the cow in a jar is a separate quest. Kitchen counter. I'm going to make 2 of these, as well as 1 kitchen corner. And then the kitchen cabinet. No, I'll make 2 of these as well. And apparently I can't, because I was holding caps lock instead of shift. There we go. Alright, and the last thing we need is the kitchen floor, which is blocks of coal and blocks of quartz. So that's easy enough. And what is the last thing that I'm going to need to complete that quest? Oh, I need 5 kitchen counters and 4 fridges? Well, alright then. 3 more kitchen counters it is. And of course I'm missing terracotta. Alright, just got done making my 4th fridge. I have the kitchen counter and the counter corners. Here we go, make a kitchen. So let's go throw all of this stuff together. I'm not sure where I'm going to throw it. Oh boy, nopale salad. honestly, I have quite a bit of food here, and there actually was a comment saying that all of the loot chests from Better Questing are all pretty useless. I would think it was Caffeinated Chaos who said it. But I am going to be getting some food out of there, which is probably the most nice. Alright, so I have bee grubs in here. A little bit of 3/4 durability on the queen bee. But yeah, so I'm pretty much all pack going to be getting useless stuff out of the loot bags, which is kind of too bad. Loot bags are in the are supposed to be in the pack to reward you for getting things done, and none of these feel like rewards. But whatever. Let's set up our kitchen. All right, and here is my kitchen. It's it's kind of simple right now, but it'll suffice. I also got a stack of wheat. What I'm going to do with that wheat is so just show off how this multi-block works. So this kitchen cabinet, even though it looks disconnected from the rest of everything, if you put wheat in here and you go over to the cooking table, you'll see that wheat-related recipes have shown up. So like these noodles. However, I don't have the tools yet, which is the next quest, in order to actually make these noodles. However, what I do have is like fresh water. So fresh water is something that you're definitely going to need in all recipes. All it's going to require is a water bucket. So the water bucket is being covered right now by the sink. So anytime you need fresh water, all you need to do is look at that. No bucket needed because it's already coming from the sink. And the fresh water is used in quite a few recipes. So no issue there. But I want to get oh yeah, I was also going to show off. So the wheat, even though this is disconnected, it is still part of the multi-block. So long as it is above a kitchen floor, then the kitchen cabinet, no matter where you put it, will be part of the multi-block. And all of my wheat-related recipes are still in here again. Alright, let's get these tools made. So first of all, we're going to need the cutting board, which is just planks, a brick, and a stick. And this can actually be placed in the world, which we're going to do very shortly. Also need a pot, which requires more bricks. And I think the last thing that requires bricks is actually the bakeware. So I'm going to make that bakeware. Skillet, nope, need more bricks. So I have I have bricks being made in the furnace. And as they become part of the furnace, I can actually use them. So, mortar and pestle, excellent. Let's use the mortar and pestle. The mixing bowl does not require bricks, and the juicer, smooth stone and a stone pressure plate. So all I'm missing is the skillet and saucepan. So I can make this skillet now. Boom. And the saucepan's only going to require one. Awesome. I have all of the tools. Let's head back over to the kitchen. And I have already placed... I have already placed a spice rack and a fruit basket in the kitchen. So the fruit basket is just like a chest's worth of storage of fruit. And the same thing with the spice rack. The spice rack is just one row of spices that you can use. The toaster doesn't actually have an inventory to it, but if you press it with bread, it'll make toast. So... awesome. Let's open up the oven, because the oven has a place for the bakeware. I guess not the bakeware. That should be the bakeware. Oh, okay, I can't shift them in, but that's fine. The saucepan and the skillet. So now that these are inside the oven, I can actually use them as part of my recipes. Oh yeah, you see that they actually show up here as well. So, and also I want to place the cutting board in the world. I'll place the cutting board right here. Awesome, awesome. So now I can use cutting recipes. And for the rest, I'm just going to use my tool racks over here. And the tool racks are part of the multi-block kitchen, so they are over a kitchen floor, which means they can be used in recipes once I place them on the rack. So the juicer, the mixing bowl, and oh yeah, that's it. Awesome. But all of the utensils have been made, and I can complete that quest. Made a loot box. Another lightwood sapling. Bully for me. So I believe the next thing that we have to create is the upgrades for the kitchen, but I can now make the cow in a jar. So, oh, I need to make 2 spice racks? Really? Huh. Well, I'm going to go make another spice rack. And the cow in the jar. So I've been hauling this around in my inventory for most of the episode. And in here, I also have a milk jar. So it provides milk to recipes, but unfortunately I'm going to need some milk in order to make that happen. Luckily, Pam's has a recipe. There we go. Put the milk jar here. And I have a cow inside this summoning pendulum. And drop an anvil on it. Boom. I now have a cow in the jar. And a cow in a jar will just make me milk all day, every day. And I think it holds up to 8 buckets of milk. I am running out of space. I'll put that right here. I may have to expand this out or move the fridge. Yeah, I think I'm going to get rid of this fridge and only keep this fridge over here. But with that, we have the cow in a jar. I'm just going to go make that second spice rack. Awesome. There it is. So, middle loot chest. And the next thing I have to do is make these upgrades for the kitchen. They're not that difficult to make. I just have to make redstone comparators for each of them. But they're kind of useless to me right now, other than what recipes need ice? So there's an icebox upgrade for the refrigerator. And, yeah, I don't know what actual recipes are going to need ice. Doesn't look like any, honestly. Oh, well, that's packed ice, so that may have something to do with it. Oh, that sounded like a baby zombie. There is a zombie here. Where did you spawn from? I think this was the culprit right here. He looks like he spawned here, dropped down, ran underneath this gap, and yeah, well, it's lit up now, so I don't have to worry about it, and I completely forgot what I was talking about. More beetle larvae. Oh my stars. Alright, oh yeah, making the ice unit. So I'm not sure what I actually need snowballs for in a cooking recipe. Well, there we have the akatak. Milkshakes, smoothies. Oh, okay. That's easy. Well, I'm not going to worry about those right now, or I'm not going to make them on camera, because it's whatever. All they do is just upgrade the fridge, the oven, and the, yeah, fridge, oven, and fridge. Okay. So, yeah, I'm not really worried about them right now. I think I found my new food source in order to progress in the pack. So, Bam's Pineapple Pizza. It stores 5 haunches and quite a bit of saturation, and all it takes is 5 bread. So I think this is what I'm going to be using from now on in order to make my, in order to go through everything. So I'm going to amass a bunch of wheat. And yeah, 2.5 stacks of there. So I already have some salt in here. Gonna make this over here. Sort by hunger restored. That is not a sticky sort. So every time you open up the interface, you're gonna have to sort again by what you want. But Bam's Pizza is going to take bread. In order to make bread, you need dough. I can't make dough right now because I need flour, which is what the wheat is for. So flour. There we go. So I have all of this flour now, and with this flour, I can make dough. And so it says that it's missing salt, but I do have salt. Both, well, it did in my spice rack, and definitely have it right here. If you don't have enough salt, salt is really easy to make because we have an infinite water source. All we need is fresh water, which we always have, and a pot. So, yeah, I can just make infinite salt that way. Alternatively, I want to make my dough now. So, 1, 2... Oh, it just froze on me. There it goes. Alright, so I still have plenty of salt. Gonna pop that in my spice rack. And now that I have all of this dough, I can make all of this bread. So, bread, 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 and bread. And with that bread, I can make the pineapple pizza. 51 of them. So, yeah, that's super simple with just 5 pieces of bread. This is probably going to be my food source for the foreseeable future. Alright, so I'm glad I got to see this in action. So, like I said when I first set down the apiary, the wiki said that it would produce a new queen bee for me whenever the old queen bee died. And that is exactly what it did. So, my old queen bee is gone, but it filled up that last slot with a new queen bee that I can use. So, that is excellent. So, I'm going to put this queen bee back in here so it can start producing stuff. I'm going to take these grubs and this honeycomb and wax comb. I'm sad I only got one wax comb. But I'm going to turn this queen bee into royal jelly. And what royal jelly will do for me is it will allow me to take a grub and turn it into a queen bee. So I can use these grubs to make a whole bunch of apiaries. With a whole bunch of apiaries, get wax comb. And what the wax comb is for, I can press it into pressed wax. And the pressed wax is used for hardened leather and all of the candles. Oh, and this wax capsule apparently. And then with the honeycomb, oh come on. With the honeycomb, I can press it into honey, which is a very valuable recipe or ingredient for my recipes. And that is what that's pretty much what the apiary is for. So you can make candles and stuff with normal wax and then make honey for your recipes. I just placed all 7 of that honeycomb into the presser here. And I'm going to take this honey and it gave me it's a 1-for-1, 1 pressed wax and 1 honey. And then when you put in the wax comb, it's 2 pressed wax. So I don't think that was explicitly said inside the recipe, but I have honey for recipes now and pressed wax for candles, which are nice decorative items. And then the candles can be dyed any which way you want. Is that just for the wax or is it also the flame? Looks like it's just the wax. The last thing that I want to go over in this episode is the oven. So the oven can be used to, let's see here, I have 64 raw beef. The oven can be used to smelt down items. What? There we go. Okay, so you put the item in over here at the top, and once it gets done, oh wow, it's actually like showing it. Oh, that's a really nice, effect. I like that. But yeah, if you put the item here, it will automatically populate over here in the cooking oven and then go over here. One thing I did notice, I'm going to take this raw beef out now. One thing I did notice that whenever I was looking at the... Oh, and also it will go through 8 items just like a normal piece of coal, so you have to be careful with that. The one thing I did notice is anything that required a... so cooked chicken. I'm going to wait for this to die down first. Here we go. Come on. There we go. The oven is now off. So with this cooked chicken, what I should be have to do is supply coal to the oven in order to get it to cook. All right. That's all right. What the heck just happened? The chicken is gone. Oh, okay, so when you click it, I was unsure of how this mechanic worked. So if I wanted it to cook, it would have automatically moved everything over to the oven, and it's expecting a fuel source to be in here, so it can cook it up and get it ready to use for the ingredient. That is good to know, and yeah, I just wasn't sure how the actual cooking portion of the meat went. So now that we know that, I'm ready to close out this episode. In between episodes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare myself to finally start Blood Magic 3 episodes after I started Blood Magic. Yeah, that's pretty much all I'm going to do. After I finish editing this episode, I'll start recording on the next episode, and yeah, everything will be fine and dandy. But I'm Kelley Engineering, and I hope that you enjoyed this episode, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.